no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know.
Live from New York, it's the Coffee Club Pet Show with your hosts, Felix.
Well, and Dr. Mark, the dog whisperer.
The veterinarian.
I'm anything you want me to be.
Today we're going to talk about pets. Dogs, cats, odd type pets.
You know, your wife has a pet. She's married to you.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. And that's why I bite her all the time.
Well, we don't want to know about your sex life.
You think that's my sex life? You got another thing coming. I bite her because she doesn't feed me.
Now, I understand that Friday she brought home some very good Chinese food that wreaked havoc on your stomach.
Absolutely.
In fact, we missed a visit to Harold's because of that.
Yes, we did. But anyway, as I said, today's show is pets. A lot of people love their pets more than they do their spouses and their children. And that's because I guess a lot of pets give you back unconditional love.
Well, I know that's honestly true about dogs. I really have to say, cats are like I said, cats are very independent. My first wife and I had 2 cats. However, they were affectionate. One of them, Brandy. Brandy used to jump up on my chest, in the morning when she wanted me to put down, I guess, water or milk or something or other. She used to wake me up, better than an alarm clock, We had 2 cats, Brandy and Cheetah. Cheetah obviously looked like a cheetah, and Brandy was orange. And I have to admit, I really did love them, And then when we bought a house, first thing you do when you buy a house, what do?
Get a dog.
But of course, Patches, Wire Hair Fox Terrier, cute little dog, And basically with the, except for the time that I spent in apartment buildings in between, we've always had a dog. There's always been a dog in the house.
Yes, in my house there's dogs most of the time, on and off. I'd get them, my wife would get rid of them.
My son, the policeman, came home with a beautiful pit bull. Yeah, don't worry. Thank you, Robin. She's listening.
If anybody's listening and you want to tell something, goes, can you please try to use our chat? It's much easier for us and doesn't...
He's worried about the rings interrupting my train of thought, but that's okay. Listen, that's
it does interrupt your train of thought.
No, it doesn't. I could do more. Despite what my wife might say, I can multitask if I have to.
Okay.
It's like jelly beaner, rubbing your stomach and patting your head, at the same time. But anyway.
That's much easier that way, because you do
see, now you interrupted me. What was I talking about? You don't even know.
We're talking about dogs. When you first move to get a dog.
Yeah, after Patches. My son, the policeman, brought home a gorgeous pit bull, maybe 6 months old, loaded with energy, only wanted to be played with. And love, let me tell you, this dog wouldn't stop for a second. The tail was wagging, but he finally realized that his job, seeing as how he slept most of the morning into the afternoon because he worked the 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift, and he used to go into work at 5 o'clock. Bottom line was, it was left for my wife and I to take care of, and it just wasn't fair because we already had a dog, So he gave it away. But, I will say that was a great dog. If we didn't have a dog, I definitely would have kept it. You know.
Well, that's the problem with dogs, especially kids when they're 5, 6 years old, they beg for a dog. When they're 10 years old, they beg for a dog. When they're 12, they beg for a dog. I'll take care of it. Not a problem. Finally, you get a dog. And then what? Nobody takes care of it. And then the parents wind up taking care of it.
You know, you're 100% right, because the bottom line is everybody, you know, wanted the dog. My son Jonathan still claims that Bentley is like his dog, but when Bentley goes into his room, it's like, come on out, Bentley, come on out, you know.
Well, the
dog sleeps with me. I feed it. I take it to the vet.
The problem with dogs and kids is kids love to play with the dog just like they love to play with a toy, and when they're done with the dog, they push the dog aside and they go play with the next toy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a dog is not a toy, and it requires a little more time than what the kids give them, and it's a problem with
And I think,
parents.
you know, truth be told, you know, dogs and cats, for the most part, you know, if you were to ask anybody who has one in the family, bottom line is they are part of the family. They're not even considered pets. Okay? I remember when our Weimaraner got sick and she had cancer, and we took her to the hospital, and it was major bucks. I mean, I was spending $1,200 a month between my wife, who had a couple of aneurysms, and the dog who had cancer. I was spending $1,200 a pop at the pharmacy for drugs because none of that stuff was covered, you know, and it was ridiculous. But, I mean, I'm certainly not going to let my wife die, but I'm certainly not going to let the dog die. Unfortunately, the dog succumbed to pneumonia, and there was nothing we can do about that, you know. But, you know, as much as we say, you know, you don't want to put your pet through unnecessary procedures or whatever, we still try to keep them around as long as we can until you have to make that final decision.
Well, you know, we obviously don't know what the dog wants or how the dog feels, so we do what feels good to us, which is not necessarily what feels or is good for the dog or whatever animal it is. That's a problem.
That's very true.
Just like we feed animals, not just dogs, but most animals, what they're not supposed to eat because we like the way it smells. We like the way it looks.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm sure you have friends, I have friends who feed their pet, primarily the dog, obviously, table scraps. Okay? My wife screams every time I want to give the dog a piece of turkey or a piece of fat or something, you know, because the bottom line is, and even the vet will tell you, which I know is true, you know, just stick to the diet. You know, their stomachs become very sensitive and attuned to what they eat. For the most part, dogs and cats eat the same thing almost every day, you know, and it's not good to surprise them with something that they don't know exactly what it is, and you don't know how their stomachs are going to react. Sometimes we can feed them something from the table, and I know for my dog, he'll go outside or even in the house, he'll throw up. He'll throw up his whole dinner because it just didn't sit well. And then I have to listen to my wife yell and scream at me for feeding the dog from the table.
Well, why do you feed the dog from the table?
Well, because I don't see what's wrong with a piece of steak. If the dog food has steak in it or the dog food has chicken in it, what's the difference if I give him a piece of chicken?
It's got spices on it.
No, well, yeah, all right, that's true. You know,
it's just not what
it hasn't been processed.
It's not the way the animals are used to eating. Their stomachs are not made for that.
You're 100% right.
You know, and you do because it makes you feel good. Oh, I'm giving them a piece of steak.
Very true.
You know, I have a cat. My cat will only eat dry cat food and a drop of wet cat food once or twice a day.
And like I said to you before, you're lucky because I remember from having the cats and even the dogs. You know, you leave the food down there for any length of time, And especially in the summertime, you really can't leave it out because it just goes bad. You know, if they don't eat it right away, you know, you got to pick it up and refrigerate it.
Well,
you know,
I understand. First thing is we haven't given anybody a phone number yet tonight.
no one's calling.
Our phone.
No one loves pets.
Our phone number is 646-595-3275. And our chat room is also open.
I
So-
challenge somebody who loves pets to call up. And I'm sorry, Felix, I interrupted you.
That's nothing to do with you.
That's true.
You know, when Mark first started, he was a quiet, little shy guy. Now you can't shut him up for anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't even put a muzzle on me.
Yeah. They invented a chastity belt for a dog. One of the things I was reading when I was doing my research about the animals. This way, doesn't have to the female doesn't have to get fixed, or the male that's with her doesn't have to get fixed because they can't do anything. And there was some really disgusting stories about strange animals and people, and I don't know if you read any of them, Mark.
Well, I'm looking through some of them now. The shorter ones I think we should read.
You don't have to, just ad lib. You don't have to read the whole thing.
Well, a true story about a cat, it says here. The Sun newspaper reports the story of a cat named Asian who fell asleep under a car bonnet in an Eastern Anglian town in Ipswich in the UK. The car's owner and driver, Rob Hiller, then drove the car some 260 miles to visit a relative in Wales. Oh,
We-
that's my friend Jody.
We've got a new caller. That's hi and good evening. And who's calling?
Hello, Mark was right. It's
I
Jody from Maryland.
I noticed the phone number. How are you?
Yeah, I love the subject tonight. And
Well-
yes, the dog food gets really crappy in the summertime when it's left out.
I know, and unfortunately, it's something that I don't want to eat. I'll leave that all to my dog.
Oh, I was going to say, when did you start eating dog food?
When the price of food started to become so expensive. I'm like the old guy on the commercial, okay? I'll buy a stew for a dog and I'll put it over rice and close my eyes. If it tastes good with salt and pepper, my wife likes to say that I'd eat shit in a cone.
And I've seen you doing it.
That's very true.
And
Well, it's good to hear you giggling.
do you have a pet?
Yes, oh, yes, thank you. After my day. Busy, the government, I should bring you back to, I can't remember which podcast it was about government stuff. I'm on disability, and 6 months, and already they're re-verifying me.
Research certifying you?
Yeah, re-verifying, not verifying. That's not a word.
Reclassification.
No, they're not reclassifying. They're checking her out to see if she's still disabled.
Right. They give it to you temporarily.
Here, now I got to go through fishtimmelness again. But you play the game. You do what you do.
Yeah.
I know that you don't have a pet, but you would love to have a pet.
I would love to have a pet if my housemate would, but it's his house, his rules, and I'm blessed enough to have that. But I had lots of pets growing up. poodles, pugs. One time you were talking about a chastity belt. One time our pug got loose in Queens, New York, where we lived, and made whoopee with a poodle, and we had Pagoodle.
Were they cute?
They were weird. They
Puppy.
had like furry, poodly hair and a curly, cute tail, and their faces were lopsided.
Oh,
Okay.
it's almost like if I had an afro. Okay. An afro and a tail, you know. But what other stories
I
do
have to
you?
keep reminding myself we're on radio.
Yeah. This show is PG.
Well, that's true. Yes. Not that we have any children
Absolutely.
listening, but it's really great that you
Well, I
called
wouldn't
up.
want
We
to-
haven't heard from you in a long time.
Well, you know,
No. I for some reason I was radio stupid, and I've listened to all the podcasts, but I could never get on live. And now that I know that, you
it's.
have yourself a loyal listener and a loyal yacker.
Well, good.
Thank you.
That's what we enjoy.
I don't- Are you
I
looking
enjoy
at
what
us?
You guys do, and I think it's really great.
Are you looking at the on Blog Talk Radio?
Yes, up on the computer, huh?
Do you see all the different pictures flashing?
Picture flashing.
You have to look close
Wait a minute.
because there's a picture of Felix nude.
No way. I've got a. No, there's no flashing. You guys are playing me.
No. There should be pictures
I
of
love
dogs.
Felix posted some pictures of dogs and cats.
Oh. If my scanner was working, I would scan some of my pictures of all of my gazillions of.
Are you on Are you on
Spreaker?
Spreaker?
Yes.
That's
Uh-huh.
why.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Do we need me to?
No, it's fine. You
Yeah.
can listen to Blog Talk Radio or Spreaker as long as you can hear us.
Yeah, I'm on Spreaker. I get confused.
That's great.
If you guys have time, I do have a quick story that I really would love to share because it's
We
about
all-
the animals and it's about how much animals mean to you and how much they can help you.
That's perfect.
When I was getting married to my first husband, and we went to pick up the wedding gown, and we put it in the back of the car. Then we drove to a department store to get bedding. And there was a dog outside of the store, and the two of us were heartbroken. It was 102 degrees. It had no water, but we couldn't put it in the car because the wedding gown was in the car. So we drove back to the house real quick, jumped into another car, and went and, we had water, we had a leash. We were set up for this. We loved to do stuff like that. And we popped the dog in the car, took it back to the house, got him a little straightened out a little bit, drove 2 hours to Peekskill, New York, and brought him to a no-kill shelter.
That's great.
Yeah.
And and it made me feel really good, and I think that animals can really help people's emotional well-being, for people with disabilities, for people who just need company.
Well, my wife was going to do that to me. Only instead of a no-kill shelter, she just said, I really don't give a damn what you do to them.
Yeah, she was talking to you about you, I assume.
Yes, me.
Oh, okay, I just want to clarify, because I know she would never do that to the dog.
I'm a no-kill shelter, Mark. You can come here.
That works. Except what are you going to do? Then you have 2 Marks in the house.
Well, it's easy when you call everybody for dinner.
I'm going to be one.
Anyway, that really was a great story. It shows that you're a compassionate, caring person.
Thank you.
Now, where are you living now?
And this is, I'm going to say goodnight to both of you.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that last week was Gilda's Yortzeit.
Yeah, I know. How many, what's it, 2 years? 1 year?
No, it's not 1 year.
2 years.
She died last year. It's 2 years.
2 years, yeah. Well,
2 years.
if it wasn't for Gilda, I wouldn't know
God
you.
bless her. I will let other people talk to you. I don't want to monopolize you.
Well, that's okay, but right now no one is calling in, so, I mean, if you really want to stay on the line, that's fine.
Or you can do, if you hear us better this way, we can put you back on hold and you can listen, through your phone.
I hear you fine. I just have to make sure to interrupt you.
Well, thank you for calling. Good luck with all of your paperwork that I know you're in the middle of, and I hope everything goes your way.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you, Felix, for allowing me on your show. I will continue listening.
It was a
And
pleasure.
guys-
And, hey, listen, you owe us a show on Wicca.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do.
I'm gonna when you're feeling better, I'm gonna hold that to you.
Yes, I can. I'm, a really great time to do it. I'm just looking at something. I will. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. We'll set that up.
Well,
Okay, great.
with the coming of Easter, and springtime,
Well, that's what
it's
I was
it's the perfect
my
time.
calendar, because you're not on Sunday, but and that's Passover. You're on Mondays. I could definitely do the 28th of April for you guys.
Okay.
Okay, it's a long way off, so I'll have to remind you, but we can put it down on the calendar. That's perfect.
We also do the show on
It's
Fridays.
down in my calendar.
Okay.
And you guys are
Thank you.
terrific.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
It's
Good
good
night.
hearing
All
from
right,
you.
Namaste.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Well,
Okay.
That was Jody from Baltimore, one of my friends, and I'm glad she called up and she had a wonderful story about that dog. It's funny. We're talking about pets. We're talking about, dogs, cats, birds, strange pets that Felix and I are going to read some material that he found on the computer. But when you see a dog limping because his paw is hurt, we feel terrible. But how many times do we pass somebody sleeping on the street or on top of a cardboard box and you just step over them? It is very sad, and it's a sad commentary on, are we our brother's keeper? We're all members of the human race, and we don't know why that person. I know I'm digressing, okay? But the bottom line is, think about that. With Easter and Passover coming up soon, the springtime, you don't know why or where that person went wrong, or how or why they became homeless. I mean, and everybody deserves a little bit of respect. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Well, one of the reasons I think it is, people look at an animal and they say he's helpless. Look at a poor helpless animal. Human beings are supposedly not as helpless.
You have, psychologically, you really have to understand a person's, history. Okay? I mean, with everything going wrong sometimes, or at least the person may think so, sometimes they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, some sort of substance abuse. They lose their home, they lose their family, they feel no one really cares about them. I mean, it really is sad when you think about it. And we really shouldn't pass judgment on people. Yes, I know that animals are helpless, okay? But, in some ways, people can be just as helpless, only we don't look at it that way because everybody says, well, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You should be able to snap out of it.
First thing is, when you're saying homeless, you're looking at homeless as being the bum on the street. There are a lot of families that are homeless, that are living, living in shelters and living in, different kinds of subsidized housing.
But there are many people that look at them and say that they're trash, and they're not.
A lot of them are not trash. The husband lost a job, the wife is not able to work either.
Single parent household.
There's a lot of reasons for people being in situations, people who are lucky enough to have a big family, they can help them out when something goes wrong. If you have no family and something goes wrong, there's nobody there to help you out. So things change, and, we're not here to judge that.
Yeah, a lot of times family just washes their hands of the whole thing, too.
That's true. But this is not supposed to be a depressing show. This is a fun show.
No, I know. We're talking about pets. We're talking about four-legged members of our family.
Not necessarily.
And birds. I know my daughter Robin has had 2 parakeets in her life. One was named Donnie for Don Mattingly, and one was named Bernie for Bernie Williams. Obviously, you could tell my daughter is an avid Yankees fan. And, we had gotten her a parrot, my wife and I, but it became too big and too much of a hassle for her to take care of. She liked the idea of a parakeet because it was small. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we got stuck with the parrot, who I must say eats us out of house and home. My wife says that parrots can eat 3 times their average weight, okay, in a given day or so. And judging from what that parrot goes through when I put the food in and the water, okay, that bird really eats a lot. And funny thing, my wife has always had birds, and she's always had parrots, and she's always worked with them. As far as talking, this parrot, I swear to you, she's never spent 5 minutes training, and the dog can call everybody's name in the house.
The dog?
I'm sorry, the parrot. If the dog could do that, boy, we'd be on,
exactly.
On TV.
Easy street.
Yeah, really. The parrot calls everybody's name. When you push the buttons on the microwave and on the phone, the parrot can mimic the sound that it makes. I mean, it's amazing. It truly is. She had one parrot, when the phone rang, used to say hello. Okay. Another, happy birthday. I wouldn't want to stick my hand in there because literally this thing bites the hand that feeds it, But, people do have parrots as pets, parakeets. But Felix, you did a lot of research, I must say. And would you like to read an article on one of...
No, but I'm going to talk about one of them. I don't.
Okay.
If whoever is on Blog Talk Radio, you'll see pictures flashing and of different animals and things, and you'll see pictures of Elvis Presley, and they're all associated with something that we read on. Mostly they were associated with something that I was reading up on. But there's an interesting story about, I don't know if you see the two-legged pig. And this poor animal was born that way, and the gentleman that owned it, his wife, when he was the the weak one, and whenever there's a litter, and the weak one usually doesn't make it out in the in the wild, but they decided to let it live, and lo and behold, this guy or lady, I don't know, or female or male, I'm not sure, I think it looks like it was probably a female pig, learned how to walk on two legs with its head down. And the family loves it, and he said he wouldn't, they appear to be a pretty poor family, and he said he wouldn't give up that pig for all the bucks in the world. He loves the pig and he would never get rid of it. And these people, they don't raise the pigs for eating purposes. It's whatever they raise it for.
I'm happy for that, because Easter's coming, and I know usually on the menu for Easter Sunday is a nice glazed ham. But I also noticed you have a picture of a very cute dog, which I've seen on the news, or at least on YouTube, walking on its hind legs, okay, and it's so cute. All it needs is a little handbag or purse.
It does have a handbag.
To put on its front paw.
He does.
I mean, it's really something to see. And,
what do you mean all it needs? It does walk with it.
Well, I didn't see that, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
It walks with a purse, and it won't. There's nothing wrong with it, with the dog, but the dog would not walk on its four legs. Will only walk on two legs, and always wants to have its pocketbook with it.
Well, that's something out of Animal Farm. 2 legs bad, 4 legs good. Remember the old Animal Farm motto when they were trying to get rid of the people? Only in this case, then when the pigs started walking on 2 legs, they had to modify it. 2 legs good, 4 legs bad. But again, I am digressing.
Yeah. But as I said, this dog did walk around, does enjoy walking around on its hind legs, carrying this pocketbook that looks like a little teddy bear.
Yes, that's what it was. That's why I said it needs a pocketbook. But you're right; it's a teddy bear pocketbook.
Yep, that's what he walks around with, and you don't have to give it to him. He takes it and he goes up on his hind legs, keeps his one leg up so the pocketbook doesn't fall down, and there you go. He's on his way. And of course, I'm wondering if he's gay or not. I don't know. Mark is looking at me. Is it a female or male dog? I forgot.
I have no idea.
It has it in the article, but I didn't think it was that important either way.
Well, that comment was uncalled for. But anyway, let's see. I have some quotes that I managed to get basically about dogs from some famous people. Some of them are, anonymous. For example, this first one from Will Rogers. Everybody knows who Will Rogers is. If there are no dogs in heaven, then when I die, I want to go where they go. Sort of a takeoff of all dogs go to heaven. I mean, I certainly can't think. And then memory serves me, there was a Twilight Zone episode of an old man who dies, and the first place that he stops, the gentleman says he couldn't bring his hound dog with him. And he said, well, if he can't go, then I'm not going to go. And then he walks another mile down.
Mark, you don't have to stop.
Okay, he continues walking, and the gentleman says, "Of course your dog can come." And the bottom line is, we've all had pets. I know, and if we're lucky, we have them for 15 years, and then they pass away. Some of us have had many pets, and we just hope that when the time comes for us, that we can all be reunited with some of our pets in the hereafter.
Hey, who's on the air? Is that you, Dan?
This is
Dan,
Dan.
I know you like this subject. We're talking about dogs and animals.
Oh my! I love dogs. I love animals. So I didn't hear all we were saying. So excuse me if I repeat what you guys said about dogs. I don't know what you said or animals. But Felix, what was your favorite pet?
My favorite pet is actually probably a dog, even though I do love cats also. And now I have a cat, no dogs. But I got a trivia, not a trivia question, but I got a question. What was your first animal's name that you ever had? Do you remember, Mark?
I know mine. Yeah.
I was living, I had just gotten married, and my wife and I adopted a black dog, and surprisingly enough, what do you call, we called it Ebony, okay, and my dad worked in the post office in general accounts, and he had a lot of people over, and one of the ladies, a very dear woman, was a black lady, and she wanted to know the name of the dog, and I told her, and she gave me such a strange look. I said, well, what would you call a black dog? I said, Ebony. But Ebony was the first dog that we had, my former wife and I.
That was a simple question, a name, and that's it.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry. I'm sharing this. You want to know stories, so I'm telling a story.
But this is we have a caller, and I asked him his first animal's name.
I thought you should have asked Dan.
I did.
No, you said Mark.
Dan?
Yeah, he's right about that. You said Mark.
I did.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Dan, so what was your first?
All right, Mark, I'm going to test your history. My first dog's name was Sacco. Now, where did that come from?
A TV show.
Italian.
It's a TV show.
Sacco.
What was that?
No, the famous legal case. Sacco Vanzetti. The famous case. Court case.
Did you say Sacco or Sacco?
Sacco. S-A-C-C-O.
Sacco. Okay, Sacco and Vanzetti. Yes.
Vanzetti. Yep. That's where my parents. That's where the name came from. So you know the history.
They got a raw deal.
Yeah, they got a raw deal. So
they were hanged for absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Right. Right. Exactly right. So that's where my first dog name came from. But then guess what? My second dog name was just because we didn't want to name the same after my dog Sacco passed. The next dog was Rocco. My parents want to keep it similar, so Sacco has nothing to do with anything other than just close to Sacco. Well, that's my first dog's name was Sacco. That's where the name came from.
I remember my parents. This is also. I was already married. My two sisters were still living at home, and my parents went to the mall. They went to Fortunoff's on Long Island, and somebody was outside with a box giving away puppies. And my father, who had a heart like butter, it just melted, he takes this dog home. Now, he never had a pet. Okay, he takes this dog home, and he named it Sam. And I said, why Sam? He said, think of this, same as me, S-A-M. So he called it Sam. And he was crazy about that dog. But there again, you're living in a project, okay? His job didn't allow him really to walk the dog. So he wound up giving it away to one of my sister's friends who had a house. But, again, sort of like Felix was saying earlier, kids want to have a pet, but who takes care of it? Okay, it's the parents who generally take care of it, and then you realize that the pet is becoming too much of an imposition.
Yeah, it is.
Look, the sad part about I had so many dogs. I mean, we can go on about your stories with your pets, and pets are the most loyal thing you ever had. That's why I guess it comes from the man's best friend, the dog.
Well,
not that we kick a dog, but you kick the dog, and the dog will love you, give you a kiss later anyway.
I think the dog picks us.
Exactly.
Well,
No, but the sad part about a pet is you grow so attached, and like you said, there's 10, 15 years that pass on, and it kills you. Your heart just dies. The dog will jump to bed with you, a cat will jump to bed with you, and then when they pass, it hurts like almost like a human. Almost, because I don't know where the expression came from, man's best friend, but it's true.
Well, I remember a famous writer said something to the effect of, when you allow a dog or a pet, but a dog or a cat especially, to come into your home, it's a losing proposition because you know that for the most part, you will outlive the pet. Okay, a pet can give you 10, 15, maybe 18 years, and then nature takes its course, and it's really a shame because, as you said, they're part of the family. We don't think of them as a pet. I know my wife and my sons laugh at me because I talk to the dog like he's a person.
Well, I get mad because my wife will give more kisses to the dog than me. She grows attached to the pets too. And I get jealous. I'm looking at her. She kisses the dog. Oh, give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. I'm not going to kiss the dog.
Very true.
But, it's too many pet stories. But I tell you something. You guys ever had two dogs, Felix or Mark, like two of them at the same time?
Yes.
No.
I tell you something. I've never seen anything so strange as strange, a beautiful thing. I had two Rottweilers, and a male and a female. How they interacted and how one protected, one stayed back to protect the family if something wrong happened. I've never seen something so bizarre. How they actually communicate, but not communicate at all. My Rottweiler, Felix, I told you, the Rottweiler attacked that guy down the block, and the mechanic dog. I think I told you this story. I'm sure Mark didn't hear it. My Rottweiler attacked. I was walking the dog with my daughter, our wife's daughter, and he's a powerful guy, 150-pound dog. And my neighbor came out, the guy works down at a mechanic shop down the block from where I work, and he bolted. I don't know why. I let my daughter walk him. I don't know why I did. I shouldn't have. But I didn't think I did. Late at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, walking the dogs. So he lunged, and she lost control of the leash. So now what happened was, they did formation. The female, my daughter was crying in the middle of the street. Now she just sat there. The female Rottweiler just sat there. Didn't do anything, protected my daughter. Just sat there, looking around, observing everything. I was beating the crap out of the male Rottweiler to stop the fight. And it stopped. Everything, no harm was done, but the formation was amazing. She did not budge, a female Rottweiler. Stayed next to my crying daughter as I was doing the fight. And I couldn't believe the formation. And a male then got up and walked next to the female and just sitting there with the tongues out like nothing happened. Nothing was wrong. What's wrong with I said, what's wrong with you two dogs?
Well, we
And
had...
they just walked home.
We had Bentley, who is a Y-hair fox. No, he is a Westie. And we had Coco, who is a Weimaraner. And the Weimaraner obviously bigger than the Westie. Bentley used to walk underneath Coco's legs. They got along so well. Okay, Coco was a girl, Bentley was a boy. And then my wife and I rescued another Weimaraner who really must have been abused, because every time you approached her, she would cower. Well, when we brought this Weimaraner into our house, Coco, the first Weimaraner, literally went into a depression. She'd go off by herself on the couch. We called this one Bones because it was so thin that she looked like skin and bones. And the problem was that they just couldn't get along. And eventually we found a home for her in, of all places, Buffalo. We put an ad in a magazine, and somebody called who used to live on Long Island but now lived up in Buffalo, had a big house. His girlfriend, they just lost their dog, and it seemed like Bones would fit in perfectly. They came down, they saw Bones, they took her back, and that was the end of that. And Coco became her old self again because we finally got rid of Bones.
Well, Weimaraners are usually very shy dogs. They're very shy dogs. They're
all night about.
they're fraidy cats.
Well, the problem was obviously Bones kept pushing Coco away, and she would sit in my lap. She'd cuddle up on my shoulders, okay, and do everything that Bentley used to do. And Coco just felt left out. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I have another quote.
Geez, I tell you, we can go on with pet stories. I mean, last one, I got two more stories for your audience.
That's
this is
fine.
Precious. I got two Rottweilers, and I had a pug. I had 3 dogs at one time. And when I let them in the backyard, and this little pug, I mean, these Rottweilers are 150 pounds. This little pug is only 10 pounds or 15 pounds. Run around and play with them. So it's time to come inside. The female Rottweiler just pick up by the back of the neck, bite it, and carry it. And the dog is inside the house. Every time. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, the dog, my little pug wasn't getting hurt, just bit it by the back of the neck and carried it inside. It's like her own baby.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Basically, that's
the
what she's
other
doing.
animals, yeah, it was beautiful to see, but I just couldn't believe it when I saw it every time. They run around, play a 110-pound dog, chasing this little 10-pound dog. Just grab by the back of the neck and just walk inside. It was amazing to see that. And then they sleep together. My dog, my little pug, would sleep on top of the either one of the Rottweilers, male or female. They both loved them, love her, and they sleep on their chest. And the dog's up and down, breathing on the Rottweiler's chest. That's one of the last stories. The other one was I had a swan in my pool. Nasty son of a gun. I couldn't get it out. And my Rottweilers were afraid of this damn thing, a swan. The swan would sit there, swim out of the pool and jump on get a suntan. And my Rottweilers will not go near the damn thing. They must have known something was there with this bird. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, I don't know why not why, but it's always nice to talk about pets and stuff. But, man, so much going on in the world. Jesus.
There is. But I got a little story before we go into our usual politics and everything else, which we always wind up going into.
And I want to do this.
If people that are looking in who are on Blog Talk Radio and see the different pictures flashing in front of them, you'll see one of them is is a cat, and its head is a can. What this cat did is got his head stuck, I guess, trying to eat out of a can, and somehow staggered into a shelter to help him get the can off. And that's the way it showed up in the front door of the shelter with a can of, I don't know what it is, maybe a can of beer, I don't know. But he had his head stuck. It's a cute picture.
Cute story, Felix.
Yeah, it's a cute picture.
I must say, that's a cute story.
Yeah. There's also
going too off topic.
Yeah. There's also, I don't know if if you were watching Spreaker, and my other members of the audience heard about this, about a two-legged pig, P-I-G.
Oh, I think I saw. Hold on, I think I saw that.
Yeah, this poor pig was born that way, and he managed to survive and just walk on his front legs. Do you know, over the years, the presidents in the United States had all different types of animals. There was, I think, who was it, Mark? Do you remember?
I think they had Cocker Spaniels. That was one of their favorite ones, I think.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot more than that. Actually, I thought you were going to read it because I can't see this. I'm going to ask you to read. You have your reading glasses. I didn't bring them.
Okay, they're talking about pets in the White House. John Adams kept an alligator in his bathroom. Martin Van Buren had 2 tiger cubs. Calvin Coolidge, it says here, had a variety of pets that would constantly be running through the White House. Dogs, cats, birds, raccoons.
I'm glad our tax dollars are well spent.
It said he even let the First Lady run through his office as well, only she wasn't wearing a leash.
Was it under the desk or?
She might have been under the desk, but I won't hazard a guess as to what she was doing. They also had a donkey, a bobcat named Smokey, a pygmy hippopotamus named Billy. Okay, if you could imagine. But basically, talk about strange pets in the White House. In this day and age, the average president has a dog. Okay, and then everybody wants to know, like they did with President Obama, did you get it from a shelter? Did you rescue it? In his case, I know one of them was a gift from Teddy Kennedy. Okay, and he caught flack for that because he didn't rescue the pet, from like the ASPCA. But I have a couple of quotes here that you may find interesting, Dan. When I went online, it says, one reason a dog can be such a comfort when you're feeling blue is that he doesn't stop to ask you why. Okay, he just wants to cheer you up. Here's another quote from Andy Rooney, who said the average dog is nicer than the average person.
I must say more better than the average woman. Sorry, guys, I had to say that.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. There is no psychiatrist in the world like a puppy licking your face. And that's the truth. And Ann Landers said, don't accept your dog's admiration as conclusive evidence that you're a wonderful person.
Interesting.
Properly trained.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Here's one. Properly trained, a man can be a dog's best friend. James Thurber, the writer, if I ever have any beliefs about immortality, it is that certain dogs that I have known will go to heaven and very few persons. I mean, think about it. All a dog wants to do is give you love and affection. The most affectionate person in the world is a wet dog by Ambrose Bierce. You know, once they get wet, they're all over you. You can't stay dry when you're washing a dog.
Oh no, if I had to ask you, Mark, what is your dog? It sounds like your dog is your favorite pet. That's my question to you.
Oh yes, definitely. If I had to compare,
now here's a question.
What?
Well, other question, right? Your dog is love dogs, but now do you like little dogs or do you like the big ones?
Okay. My wife likes a big dog. I like the small dog. So we opted for a Westie. Okay, we opted for a Westie. And then my wife saw at the vet an advertisement. Somebody was giving away a Weimaraner puppy. And the funny thing is, I used to think that the Weimaraner was a big dog, until I took the dog down to the dog run and I saw some tremendous dogs, okay? And all of a sudden, the Weimaraner became so much smaller in my eyes, you know. But how we got the Weimaraner is one of my wife's favorite stories. It just goes to show how gullible I really am, okay? And if it's okay with you, Felix, I'd like to share, since we're doing pet stories.
Sure, go ahead.
There's not other bigger stories in the world to talk about, but our dogs.
That's true.
But you know something? Talking about pets puts one in a good mood. We have plenty of time to talk about the Malaysia flight 730, okay, that seems to have vanished. I'm almost ready to say that I wouldn't be surprised if some UFO zapped it up, you know?
I said that a week ago.
I know.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about UFOs. I'm a big UFO fan, but this is not possible.
Well, it's 10 days without a clue, okay? They have no idea where they're searching. They don't know where to look. There's nothing coming out of the transponder box, nothing out of the black box. So, I mean, really, you know, how does something vanish into thin air?
Well, what they do now is taking a radius of how far the airplane could have gone before it ran out of fuel. And that's where they're starting to look. They expanded the area where they're looking by quite a bit. And right now, Australia has become a big part of the search.
Man, it really embraced a lot of people. The story really captured everybody. I mean, it's not a United States problem, but at the same time,
3 Americas on it.
Yeah, but they're really not as far as technology as why this plane was. How can you disappear 200 people gone? But yet, to me, our government is worried about the dumbest things. They can find somebody hiding in the hole. They can hear the mob talk through homes. You can't find 239 people on a plane. It amazes me.
Well, it's
but
true.
This wasn't our. I mean, it was a couple. I think three people from the United States, but
yeah.
But I mean, some theories can be blown out of the scenario because why people have cell phones? 230 people have a cell phone to call a loved one saying, "Hey, something's wrong," you know.
Well, first thing, I don't think a cell phone works in a plane. I don't know for sure.
They do. It happened during 9/11. I mean, they were calling their loved ones 9/11. They said something's going to get hijacked.
That's true. You're right.
No, not one person called on this plane. How did this happen? I'm going to UFO theory. I really am, Felix. I'm on this one.
You know, listen. one possibility, which is UFO, I guess. The other possibility, it landed somewhere, and they're going
Right.
to use the airplane for the future. And they're saying, well, maybe
But-
the crew was terrorists, actually. The pilot.
Well, And the only thing gets me is that everyone's got cell phones these days. They didn't text somebody, help. We got hijacked. We're going the wrong way. Or did it blow up? But if it blew up, the plane hopefully got hijacked and landed somewhere. I mean, fine. Then they'll work out a deal.
Well,
But-
first thing is,
But
the flight was, whatever number of hours. If you were going in the wrong direction and you were flying at 35,000 feet, would you really know as a passenger?
I don't, Felix, right? I don't know. You're right. You wouldn't know. I wouldn't know a term plane. I would say, well, I'm just listening to my headphones and watching TV or eating
Exactly.
caviar. I wouldn't know.
And then when you pick up your phone, they tell you no phones on the airplane, so you don't talk on the phone. You really don't realize there's a problem until time for the plane to land. You knew it was going to be
Well-
an 8-hour flight, whatever it is, and now you're in the air for 8 hours,
Well,
for argument's sake, and nothing has
Well,
happened. Then you start wondering.
I wondered. I don't know if you heard this, Felix. I wonder. They said that plane went actually 45,000 feet, which is. I mean, I don't say toxic. That's the wrong word. The plane went 45,000 feet in the air, which is unheard of. That they don't do that. But maybe they went. Maybe the plane, the pilots went. That's the oxygen, the air. You lose control of everything, and then it drops to down 5,000 feet. You lose radar. So why don't? No one knows what the hell is going on. If it lands somewhere, I mean, 10 days. That's crazy. No disaster sites. No services. No, not service. No one criminal person taking claim to hijacking.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, if the crew was going to hijack the plane and make it come down, it would make sense they would go after a popular area and crash the plane there. They
Right.
wouldn't just
But
keep
there's
flying
no
until
debris. There's-
they wouldn't just keep flying until they run out of fuel or whatever. So,
I think the plane and the people are about halfway to Mars right now.
that's what I said.
I wonder if they've looked in Area 51.
Yeah.
I think look, maybe with Snowden and Putnam, maybe they're all there. I don't know. I talked to a professional person who actually has flight knowledge, and they said there are actually sensors in the motors, and the news is right. There's sensors in the motors. That plane was going on for hours. Never mind the black box. The sensors in the motors. Those motors were going for at least 5-6 hours after it had been diverted to their course. So that's what they're trying to figure out, where it went for 5-6 hours afterwards.
Well, nobody knows. That's the problem. That's why they're figuring out how much fuel it had, and that's the radius they're looking at.
Yeah,
could've-
there's so much coverage on this thing, and it's pretty much a psychologist was on CNN yesterday, which they're not asking me, but just caught my attention too. Why is how much coverage is too much coverage? They're just putting fear in us, and people don't want to fly now, and they're scared, and how much coverage CNN, this psychologist was on there, and she said, well, people have interest. They're scared.
Well, listen,
they want to know
there are
what's going
still many people who won't fly. This just adds to their fear.
on. Yeah.
People who never flew.
This female psychologist made a point that I just kind of absorbed, and she said about conspiracy theorists. Why do they come about over a situation like this? Whatever they want to hear comforts them. That's why the conspiracies come out. They want to hear what they want to hear.
I'm waiting for Jesse Ventura to come out with his idea. You know, he's always got a conspiracy theory about something.
I'm one of them. Conspiracy, like I'm talking about UFOs took the plane. You know, just whatever makes me feel better. That's what I tell myself.
Do you remember the movie The Abyss?
Yeah, The Abyss, sure. Yeah, the
Okay.
underwater, they sink and...
Right. They go like 15, 20,000 feet below the ocean, below the surface. And who saves their lives? These beings from inner space, not outer space, but inner space. They live at the very depths of the ocean. How do we know that the plane's not at the very bottom of the ocean, and we have these beings from the abyss that might just wind up saving their lives? I mean, as crazy as all this sounds.
You started to scare me, Mark, but I'm following you, though.
Oh, that's all right. I'll talk about my vasectomy.
No! All right, go back to the abyss.
That always gets you, I know. You remember Lon Green, who used to tell us how old dogs were because a dog ages 7 years for every year as a human?
Right.
Okay, my dog is worried because the price of Alpo is $3 a can. That's $21 in dog money.
You did the math on that one.
Well, I just threw it in, you know, just for the hell of it. But getting back to the flight, I don't see any end to this. Nobody seems to know, like you said before, where to look next.
You know, if the plane crashed,
either if it crashed, but that doesn't seem our technology these days. You can't find it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now Australia's I heard taking over the this investigation.
Yeah, because I think it may have gone towards Australia, the plane. So the Australian government is heading the search.
Well, if it went south, you know, in the Indian Ocean, that's what they were saying. There's nothing but water, and there's no satellite tracking there. So if they were heading there for a reason, you know, it wouldn't be tracked.
Yeah, maybe there's a.
I really wish it was hijacked. I really wish it was hijacked and they got to land somewhere. You know.
Maybe there's an island that we don't know about.
Wouldn't it be great if they an uncharted island? Maybe we'll find the HMS Bounty.
We'll find Gilligan there. Gilligan.
That's right. Gilligan's Island.
I just don't understand. You know, I don't want to blame the United States. It wasn't our plane. It wasn't our country. But I just can't believe we can't find a plane with 239 people on. We can find everything else. We can find Felix can find a mouse farting in a warehouse before we can find 230 people missing. You know, how does that happen?
Maybe
all over our warehouse.
Maybe, you know, you remember the movie The Philadelphia Story? Maybe 35 years from now, or 50 years from now, the plane is going to land, and all the people, it's like the Bermuda Triangle type of thing. They haven't aged, they're still on the flight, and they only think it's a couple of hours, but 50 years have gone by.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, we could go on with this forever.
We can go on this forever tonight on these topics.
But
yeah, you know, I don't know this plane thing. I'm you know, that psychologist, the same person I was talking about on, I don't know if it's CNN, I think it's CNN. Same thing about the news media covering these things. You know, when are they overdoing it? How far when do you have to stop?
I don't think
you're scaring the hell out of everybody. Where we don't know what's going on, and they're told to report. They got news media. Oh my God, I'm sorry his name.
Listen, it's news. You report it. That's the way we are.
This is human nature, actually. You know.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the term that the guy said, or actually the woman said about reporting these cases like this. And when is enough enough? When they're being told what to do, and they're like, they even see positive. I'm sorry to keep reporting the story. This is what we're told. Hope the guy probably got in trouble.
Well,
when is enough enough?
I can guarantee you, if something breaks in the George Washington Bridge scandal and Chris Christie, that'll replace the Malaysian flight for a while. Okay, we wait for one tragedy to another.
Well, listen,
I bet you Chris Christie is happy this happened with this plane because he's all.
I'll bet he is.
Going on with him.
Because
he's very happy.
Even my favorite TV network, MSNBC, even they're reporting more now on the Malaysian flight than they are about the bridge scandal.
Well, it's until we find this airplane, it's not going to stop. You have too many people.
It's not going to stop because it fascinates everybody as far as what the heck happened.
Well, forget about that. Hey, Dan, there are 230 some odd people.
39
people.
39.
And they probably each have 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 people on the ground looking for them. So now you multiply the 239 by 10 and everything else. There's a lot of people that want to know what happened, who have immediate connection to the people in the airplane.
You see the news, guys. They're bringing on all the news channels. They're bringing on professional pilots. They're bringing on how can this happen, and they all same conclusion. The pilots had something to do with it. But at the same time, they all said the same thing, though. When this happened last in your memory about a situation like this, the Air France flight, I guess. You know more than me. How many years ago was this?
Yeah, but right now, like you just said, you have the pilot and the co-pilot, you have the crew, but how do we know that it wasn't one of the 239 passengers who hatched the plot and that one of them wasn't responsible for this? Everybody thinks that it's the crew.
No, they're just looking into the crew.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. But I heard this on the news today. They said, what if, everybody on the flight is suspect.
Of course.
Really?
Were there any pets on the flight?
I think there were a few dogs.
Not two-legged ones.
Speaking of dogs, an anonymous quote, Dan. My goal in life is to be as good a person as my dog thinks I am.
I'm thinking about that.
Well, here's one. You had what was that?
Say one more time that anonymous.
My goal in life to be as good a person as my dog thinks I am. Because dogs always think that their masters are terrific. For the most part anyway, as long as you don't abuse the animal.
How do you know what the pet thinks?
Well, you really don't.
He may thinking if I'm not nice to you, if I don't lick your face, I'm not going to eat. So I got to be nice to him all the time so I can get fed.
I wish our wives would be like this. You come home, you want to get licked. Well, yeah, your wounds licked, but no, you can't kick your wife.
Well, how many times do you hear somebody saying, "In my next life, I want to be a dog"?
Not me.
I mean, you hear so many people saying, "In my next life, I want to be a dog in a Jewish household," because a Jewish pet never touches the floor, because the woman is always picking it up.
It's true.
My next life, I want to be a bird. I'm going to fly south. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's okay.
I don't know what you want to be in your next life if you believe in reincarnation, but I want to be a bird. And
Well,
fly
you know,
south. That's all.
in the sermon, I think it was the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, look at the birds in the heavens. They don't work. Basically, they tally not. They don't work. Yet somehow they get fed. A carefree life. And you carry your transportation with you, your wings.
All right.
I'm going to talk about pets for 1 second. I never seen this before in my life. I think I told Felix once before. But I do want to talk about something else about Obama, but let me stay on the pet topic for a second. I never seen, obviously squirrels. I never seen, I went to look at a home a while ago, and a guy had a pet squirrel. Never seen it. And it wasn't his. He was just, I was looking at the house. I wasn't buying the house, I was going to rent it. And the squirrel was cute, called a squirrel. Squirrel would come up, jump up his pants, on his shoulder, and he'd feed it. I could never seen a pet squirrel before. It was the coolest thing.
No, because squirrels generally are in the wild. It's very difficult to tame a squirrel.
I didn't ask him how he did it. I was a bunch of people there, and he said, "Yeah, that's his pet squirrel." He would come outside, and the squirrel. I saw it from the horse's mouth. I saw it. He would squirrel rump his legs, and outside, not like in a cage or anything, outdoors. The squirrel would come and run up on his shoulder and sit there, and he'd feed it. It's crazy. Never seen that before in my life.
Do you know what kind of
I don't know
pet?
if I've heard this that before either, but that was weird.
Do you know what
Never
kind
seen
of
it.
pet Elvis Presley had?
Beforehand, no. He was a Guyanese guy. As far as his pets he had before, I don't know. But this is outdoor. Outdoor pet, not like in the cage in his home.
Yeah.
He came outside, and a squirrel came right up to him. Up his leg, my mouth just dropped.
We're talking about pets. I forgot to tell you, we've had frogs, we've had ferrets. Okay, I remember when my sons were doing soccer when they were very, very young, we took one of the ferrets with us, the one that was better behaved. And there were more people crowding around us with the ferret than there were parents watching the soccer game. We had a snake as a pet. My wife was really into this, and the boys really loved it. We used to feed the snake crickets, and we used to watch it digest the crickets. Now the snake wasn't big enough to feed it a mouse, but the problem is mice are so damn cute. They really are. The last thing I want to do is feed a mouse to a snake.
Talking about pests and different types of pets, there are laws all over the country that seem a little weird. It was once illegal for a gorilla to ride in the back seat of a car.
Magilla gorilla.
So what about
Magilla
the front
gorilla?
A gorilla.
Yeah, Magilla gorilla for sale.
Yeah. So what about a front seat?
Well, I wonder if you could travel with a gorilla on the front seat and go in the HOV lanes.
Probably. In Florida, a law stated that parking fees must be paid for an elephant tied to a meter. And this is in Florida.
Yeah. How do they know that the elephant won't just walk away tied to the meter?
And there was.
We went off topic on this one.
Well, right now we're just getting ridiculous.
Oh well, look, I'm gonna change this topic. This is silly. What are you talking talking about. I feel like I'm gonna tell you something. I did the best thing in my life. I did the best thing in my life before I called the show. I deleted myself off of Facebook. I had enough. The worst thing in the world, I deleted not just people, I deleted everybody. I just got myself off of Facebook. It's a horrendous thing, that thing. And I feel good. I feel like a pound of tons of bricks off my shoulders. I had enough of it.
Well, I wish that some young people would be more careful what they put on Facebook, because prospective colleges and prospective employers, use Facebook just the way the kids do. And, they want to know if you have an account, and they'll check up if you have an account, and they'll see what you're posting. It could be very detrimental.
Felix, I had it all. I did it today. I had enough of it. Enough friends complaining about, oh, you did this without me, and you did that. My wife will go on, oh, where'd you go? You said you were going there. You're going here. And I'm like, geez, it's supposed to be a friendly thing. I mean, not doing anything really wrong. Just like, okay, didn't go to that store I told you I was going to. So
yeah, well, you see, I'll just come right out and tell you. You and Dr. Don went to Harold's, and you didn't even think of Felix and myself.
Oh, you son of a gun. Right, so imagine, Mark, now imagine if you saw my father and I at Harold's when I said we couldn't make it on last weekend.
Well,
you saw us sitting there eating the food. You'd be fuming.
Hey, Dan.
You even talk to me with the phone.
Your father probably would have sat there, and you would have gone and hid underneath the table.
So I said, it's fine. That's my point is that exactly. If you saw a picture of me, or Felix saw a picture of me on Facebook, have it, hey, here's a picture of my father and I at Harold's on whatever Saturday, you would have been pissed off. So I don't blame you. I wouldn't have blamed you. We didn't go, obviously, but I'm just saying these things. I just got, hockey tickets, Alma game for tomorrow night. Now my kids see this. Their wife sees this.
And they say, yeah, why didn't you take me along? Get a ticket.
Right, exactly right. And I just had enough of it. I had enough of getting in trouble over this stupidity. I just deleted I'm just making an announcement on your show. I deleted myself off of Facebook. I mean, not just one person. I just took the file off.
Felix is going to make an announcement on Facebook.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Hey, Dan, are we still going to the hockey game tomorrow?
See what I mean? It's worse.
You see that? You opened up your big mouth.
Yeah, open up Pandora's box.
Well, I have to tell you, if they were Ranger tickets, I'd be upset. But for the Islanders, nah.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt, Mark.
I know. I have friends who are Islander fans.
Well, listen.
How can you not be? I mean, come on. I mean, they went through how many in the 80s? Jesus, they're on fire.
Hey, listen, the Islanders for 4 years in a row had a phenomenal team. Let me ask you, whatever happened to Mike Bossy? It's like he was a great hockey player, and you don't hear anything from him anymore.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I asked my father. He's a big Islander fan, and he's actually going to come to the game with me tomorrow. But Bossy, I said, whatever happened to him? You hear the other Trotcher, you hear all the other Smith, you hear of them, but he disappeared.
Yeah, a lot of the hockey stars who are as well known as Mike Bossy, they eventually retire, and they get an announcing job, or they have a front office job with one of the teams, but I've never heard anything about him.
Nothing. I brought his name up just recently with my father, because I'm going to the game. We just talked about it. I'm going to the game tomorrow.
Well, I think you know what you should do? You should try to get a question to one of their announcers and just say that, You remember the teams from the 80s with Mike Bossy. Whatever happened to him? And maybe they'll give you an answer.
Or maybe you just Google him and you get your answer.
You know, a lot of these players, too, maybe Mark, a lot of these players, too, they're not from Long Island, obviously. They're here from Canada. Maybe they just went home back to the home country, and that's it.
It's very possible. But you would think that a star like that would have kept his fingers in the game. Maybe be the coach of a Canadian hockey team, okay, or a minor league team.
Right, you're absolutely right, Mark. He fell off the map. Who knows? He was so popular, but I don't know what the heck happened to him.
Now, I just want to give you a for instance. I am not a computer person. You know what the first thing out of Felix's mouth was? Why don't you Google him? And I never thought to Google him.
I'm already doing it right now. I'm doing it right now this week. Speaking of sports, too, since we somehow went on this topic.
Well, he made Hall of Fame.
I know that.
With the New York Knicks is funny. With Jason Kidd, they suck. They really, I can't believe how bad they are.
Hey, listen, I just hope that Phil Jackson can be the impetus that they need to, maybe not this year, but eventually, become the team that they can be. I mean, look at what Jason Kidd is doing for the Brooklyn Nets. They actually are 3 or 4 games over 500, and they stand a good chance of being in the playoffs.
I know. That's amazing. I'm Mike Bossy here. This is scary, actually. You don't want to see these pictures. Oh, my God. Young kid. Oh, my God.
What?
I'm not saying he definitely just aged. Holy cow.
We have no pictures here.
I got pictures of him. Holy cow. I'm trying to think what he's doing right now, but kid, he looks like 80 years old. Holy cow. I'm trying to see what he's doing something with hockey.
Well, he worked he worked as a telephone broadcaster in Quebec.
He's on CC Radio Network, probably.
And afterwards, not being able to get a job with the NFL organization for over a decade and a half.
Oh, my.
What?
I don't see. Hold on, I'm trying to read for you guys here. Jesus, I know about his career. I'll see what he's doing now. I don't know, nothing worth reading. His hockey career. Accomplishments, I don't care about that. Let me know. Oh, Jesus, I don't think he's doing anything. Anyway.
For Humpty
I don't
Dumpty?
think he's doing anything. Yeah, so he came for Canada. He's flying back and went back to Canada. Stanley Cup, all those years, 4 years for the Stanley Cup. And,
he's working the front office for the Islanders.
Yeah.
On October 13th, the Islanders held a news conference to announce that Bossy had rejoined the organization, working with the front office in sponsor and fan development. So I guess he did finally land something.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't want to stay on the phone all night with you. I'm talking, finding what Bossy did with the rest of his life, but I don't see anything. He worked as a Here we go. He worked as a television broadcaster in Quebec.
I mean, let's face it. Even back then, 30 years ago, he was earning enough money, and if he, invested it wisely, he probably never had to work again for the rest of his life. But still, somebody like that would want to do something having to do with the sport that, made him a household name, at least in New York.
Okay, I'm telling you right now. I Googled him, and here we go. He effed in. He worked for a promotional company called Humpty Dumpty, a food snack manufacturer in Eastern Canada. He became the Quebec sales director in 2003. And then Bossy made his cameo appearance for a fourth sequel of a French-Canadian classical movie, Les Boys. I'd like to see that one. And 2006, he rejoined that play, working at front office and sponsor of the fan development. What the hell that means? That's all it says.
In other
So, now
words,
we know.
he's doing a lot of nothing.
But he's doing it for the Islanders.
What? He's not doing anything for the Islanders.
Yes, he is.
If you know how much money it would make if he came down to the stadium, Islanders? How much people would? Jesus, he could stand outside the stadium with a hat, begging for money. People throw it in his damn hat. His helmet.
Hold on a second.
Damn, everyone loves Bossy. I don't know what this.
He's one of the. He's
the
one of
Island. He looks to this. October 13th, 2006.
So?
The Islanders had a news conference to announce that Bossy had rejoined the organization, working in the front office and sponsored fan development.
Yeah, but that's 8 years ago.
That's
They never mention him.
They had an announcement on him.
They never mention him.
It says right here they had a news conference when they hired him.
8 years ago.
And that's the last thing they have on him.
Well, somebody like that, you don't just mention it once and then forget about it.
If he's still doing it,
that's what I mean.
He's still doing it.
Or you don't know if he's still doing it.
You didn't know he was doing it from the start.
Whatever.
Why didn't you know about it in 2006?
If I don't see Bossy tomorrow night,
I'm not an Islander fan.
Okay, so
I hate Rangers, so don't worry about it.
I remember going once many years ago with a cousin to an Islander game because he had season tickets. And I believe it or not, I think they were playing the Rangers. And it was before. It was more than 20 years ago because it was before the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in '94, and all they were saying, the fans, was 54, 54, because it had been 54 years since the Rangers had won a Stanley Cup.
Oh, I remember being down Wall Street as a runner when the Rangers they won, and I remember that everyone was so excited down there. I'm not a Rangers fan, but I remember everyone nuts when they won.
I remember in 95. I remember it was 95 because it was just before my mom died. It was about 3 months before my mom died. My wife and I and the two boys went down to Florida, and she had gotten me a leather Rangers jacket, that had the patches on it and the Stanley Cup and everything. And when we got on the plane, and she was wearing her Ranger jersey, and the boys were wearing Ranger stuff, and everybody on the plane thought that we had something to do with the organization because of all the stuff that we had with us.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. That's funny.
But since we're talking about a plane, let's get back to the Malaysia 730.
I don't want to talk about planes.
I don't blame you.
I used to fly. I don't like flying. I have to ask my doctor to give me Valium.
You know what my father-in-law used to do? My father-in-law used to get his wife juiced up on alcohol because that was the only way he could get her to fly.
Yeah, no, I used to, it's weird. I don't know what the tradition was. So I used to love flying. I used to love it as a kid.
And he was a pilot. He was a pilot in World War II. He used to fly over Germany and Europe, and he said, I used to fly over a site, and the guys would jump out. He said, they were nuts. He said, I wear a parachute because I have to. He said, but the bottom line is I'd never jump out of a plane.
Well, if you were shot down, you would.
Well, very true.
You know, it's...
Oh, God.
Anybody want to make any predictions about Flight 730? What's going to happen?
Yeah, UFO took it off into space. It's halfway to Mars right now.
Well, we'll never know that.
Or maybe it's the Malaysian version of the Bermuda Triangle, and it'll show up 50 years from now.
What do you think, Dan?
UFOs, I'm going with.
So did Felix last week.
Well, listen, look at it this way.
UFOs.
It's just like if you don't know what caused it, it was God that caused it.
That used to be, that's right. That used to be the old, in Greek and Roman mythology, if they couldn't explain something, they said it was due to the gods. Okay, so?
Now we blame it to the UFOs.
You know what it was? The Malaysian government forgot to make a human sacrifice before the plane took off. And therefore, the Malaysian gods are angry and they have the plane somewhere. And if you believe that, I have a bridge for sale in Arizona.
How much? I don't know. I don't know. You do. I don't know. We can talk about the plane. We talk about. I guess that's why it's a coffee club. You talk about what you want to talk about.
How about Obamacare?
Oh, stop it with Obamacare.
No, Obama went on to. I think it was Jimmy Himmel. Was that the Himmel? Was that the talk show host?
Channel 7.
Yeah. It's Kimmel.
See, I didn't see it. I just heard clips of what he actually said. It was supposed to be a joke. Him, but it turned serious. And Jimmy Himmel, right?
Kimmel.
Show. Kimmel. I'm sorry, Kimmel. They're supposed to make a goof of him, of his presidency and everything else. And he goes, would you want to run for a third time? They're doing a goof. And he goes, would you want, Kimmel said, would you want to run for a third term? He goes, no. And this one got serious then. It's supposed to be a goof. He's supposed to be joking, Obama. He goes, would you do a third term, he asked him. He's like, absolutely not. You have
to understand, Dan, that the only president, obviously FDR, who ran and was elected 4 times because he was elected during the Depression, okay, which eventually led into the war, okay. In fact, if he didn't die, he would have lived out his full term. He died shortly after he was elected the 4th time. It'll never happen again in our lifetime. I don't think. I mean, I know there's a law on the books, but I can't see anyone being president more than 8 years, and I don't know why anybody would want to be. I mean, just you know what they say. Take a look at a picture of George Bush when he was first elected, and then take a look at him 8 years later. Take a look at Clinton. Take a look at him 8 years later. Take a look at Obama, and take a look at him now. The office tends to age you in such a way you become old before your time.
Except for Putin.
He He said that about being
Putin, that's
Kimmel.
Well, Putin flashes his breasts. That's why you like him, Felix. He rides topless on a horse.
yeah.
Hey, listen.
Funny.
But if you
Kimmel
take
asked him,
if you
about being
if you take a good look at Putin, he could use a training bra.
Yeah, he's getting there also.
He's got a little bit of a flab there, man
he might
breasts.
be, I don't know, A cup or B cup. I don't know if he would be right now, bra size. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I could probably use a training bra, really.
But I'm still not done with Obama yet because that segment, that little thing just happened over the weekend when he was on the air, Obama. Again, it was supposed to be a joke, but he turned serious. So he looked into the camera and he goes, "Yeah, Americans," he goes, "I guess you feel I did a bad job as a president the past 2 years."
Hey, listen.
He turned serious.
I honestly believe that from the time he was elected, the Republicans all got together, the ones that have the power and they said, there's nothing that we're going to allow this guy to do. Okay? And the sad thing is, who's hurting? Not the senators or congressmen, not the Tea Party. It's the average person like you and me. They fight him. They fight him every chance they can.
He was pretty much a lame duck president all the way through.
Well, he could have been. He could have been because they don't allow anything to pass.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's pretty much a lame duck president all the way through his whole term.
If it was up to them, they would erase Obama's name as the 44th president of the United States. You'd go right from Bush to the next person who's going to be president.
Right. No, I agree. It's sad what, the sad part is the tensions were really good. I really believe that. He said change, and I just think he got blocked every time he tried to make a change.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
I don't know because of the color of his skin, or I don't know. I'm pretty much going to say that's probably what it was.
Well, I hate to agree with the Reverend Al because I can't stand him, but
I can't stand.
It's definitely the color of his skin. Okay, I've heard people say he might be half white and half black, but he identifies too much with the black side. Okay.
He did the worst thing, Obama. That not that long ago. The news media, I guess it's probably Republican news or the what channels were doing, I forgot. But he would. It's funny. He met a white person. He would just shake like a normal handshake. A black, he would do their black little handshakes in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept showing it and showing it and showing it. So it's pretty much, I guess he's just identifying himself, being black. But if you look at the news, it looks bad. He just had the white guy did a little normal handshake. A black guy, he was doing the whole hand up in the air and that brother bump off the shoulders.
Well, the problem is,
that.
if you're half white and half black in the United States, you are considered black.
Yeah.
Not just in the United States.
Well, maybe.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. The video was great. They showed him the whole time. The black guy, he did those high-five things and all his fists in the back in the air. The white person, he just does a normal handshake.
Oh, that's because
so
that's
he's identifying himself as being black. And I think that's the whole problem he has with Congress. They don't like seeing that stuff. No one does, actually. Just a normal handshake is fine.
Well, listen, the problem is every time there's a Democrat, Republicans don't like him. Every time there's a Republican president, the Democrats don't like him.
Yeah, but I've never seen such division like now. Okay,
Like
Clinton,
that, right.
Clinton managed to get things done, even though they hated
He
him. They loved him when he left the presidency, but when he was president, one slander after another. It was Rosewood, it was Monica Lewinsky, you name it. Okay, I'm not saying that Democrats are any different. You know, with Reagan, it was Iran-Contra. You know. But the thing is, Reagan got things done, Clinton got things done, and like Dan said, for some reason, they don't want to give this guy anything.
Well, he gives the impression that he doesn't want to give anything either.
No, he's tired of trying to negotiate with them. That's why he said, I'll pass an executive action. So they all start to scream. And if you compare, George Bush passed more executive actions than Barack Obama. Okay? Barack Obama has not done all that much because he knows they won't let him.
Obama's only going to go down as just what he did for our country. I mean, he's just going to go down as he was the first black president.
And he got Bin Laden. All right, you know, Bush had a chance. Bush had a chance to get Bin Laden back in 2002 in Afghanistan, and he let him get away.
Right.
And when the press used to ask him about Bin Laden, he would say, "I don't think much about him anymore." How could you not think about a man who masterminded the death of over 3,000 innocent people, okay, on September 11th? How could you tell me that you don't think about him anymore, that he's ancient history? But when Obama got him, don't forget, Obama was at the congressional dinner of the correspondents. It was on Saturday or Sunday night when everybody roasts the president. Okay? The very next day, the SEALs went in and killed Bin Laden. He knew all the time this was going on. This had been planned for a while. Show me somebody who could show so much cool under pressure.
Yeah, no, but that's what Obama has as his gift. He's kind of like Clinton. He reminds me of. He's a great speaker. He's charismatic. Obama, he can talk.
Well, he was a college professor. He was a constitutional professor. He taught at University of Chicago.
Well,
no, he's not. He's a great speaker. The problem is not him being the speaker. The problem is the people behind him is causing all the problems. He sounds great, Obama. He really does. Sounds great. Nothing ever happens, though.
It's the opposition.
That's the whole thing. I'm telling you, Obamacare is going to totally flop. Once he's out, it's going to just get crushed.
Well,
everyone's against
there are 2 more years, 14, 15, about 2.5 years left in his presidency. Okay, I have a feeling that no matter how many times the Republican Party tries to overturn Obamacare, eventually in the long run, people are going to see that this is a good thing to have, and it's a good thing for the country. And while other presidents tried to do it, he managed to get it done.
Well, if he wants a legacy, if he wants something, or if he makes it work, and obviously, there's so many damn obstacles here, and I haven't heard really many people say good things about it, even including myself. The poor seem to be getting, hey, this is great, I pay $100, and they have health insurance. Some people get free health insurance.
Felix loves Obamacare.
No.
You know what I mean?
I love to have medical insurance, and I have, instead of having medical insurance, I have Obamacare. It's not the same thing.
Right. that's what the problem is.
It's
But,
not. It's not a
some
medical
hazards-
plan.
Well, enough
I've never
about
heard
that.
too many people- I haven't heard too many people good things about it, other than maybe Felix, but I haven't heard too many good things about it at all.
Well,
And I'm one of them who still has nothing. I'm paying. Well, not. I didn't join up yet, but I tried twice, and it's so annoying. Too many personal questions I ask, and that's not. It was
Well,
pretty much more money.
I'll tell you something, Dan. In closing, I would like to tell you this last quote about dogs. It's an anonymous quote. The reason a dog has so many friends is that they wag their tail and not their tongue.
I like that one.
Huh?
on that note,
That's why I saved it for last.
on that
We
note,
better let the dogs in.
What's that?
What's wrong with that? You giving me a whoopee cushion? There we go. The fellas want to come in.
all right. That's our signal, Dan.
All right, let's sign it off, gentlemen.
Okie doke.
Thanks for calling. It was
Thank
a pleasure
you.
as always.
We look forward to what you have to say on Friday. We have no idea. Well, we do sort of have an idea.
Friends.
Friends
Family.
versus family.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I thought of it.
That's a good topic. That's a good topic.
All right.
All right, Dan. Have a good evening.
I enjoyed Harold Saturday without you guys, and I'm going to enjoy the whole game with Bossy tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's okay.
All right.
Can't get with you guys.
All right, guys.
Have a good
Everybody,
night.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
listening.